Husband unleashes ultimate payback after cheating wife contracts a disease from her AP. It was supposed to be a fresh start for Sarah and Mark. They had been married for over a decade, their relationship tested by life's challenges, but always weathering the storm. Mark thought everything was stable, secure until one day, he found a text message on Sarah's phone that changed everything. The message wasn't just a simple flirtation. It was an admission of infidelity. Sarah had been seeing someone for months, a coworker she had started an affair with. The betrayal cut Mark deeply, but nothing hurt more than learning that Sarah had contracted a sexually transmitted infection, STI, from her affair partner. The anger he felt was unbearable. He confronted Sarah, who initially tried to deny it but ultimately admitted to everything. She was ashamed but argued that it wasn't something she had intended to happen. Still, the damage had been done not only to their marriage, but also to Mark's trust and health. Mark, overwhelmed with a mixture of grief, rage, and disbelief, felt a profound sense of betrayal. In his pain, he wanted to inflict the same level of hurt Sarah had caused him. He took a drastic step. He initiated a revenge plan, intending to leave her emotionally wrecked and facing the consequences of her actions. Over the following weeks, Mark slowly distanced himself from Sarah. He didn't raise his voice, didn't demand answers, but instead became emotionally unavailable. He began an affair of his own, not as a simple retaliation, but as a way of asserting control over a situation where he had felt helpless. The more Mark detached emotionally, the more Sarah sought his forgiveness. But for Mark, the emotional pain was too raw. The thought of revenge seemed to ease the hurt, but as he carried on his own affair, he too began to realize that his actions weren't the solution. The emotional weight of his revenge started to affect him in ways he didn't anticipate. Sarah, meanwhile, sought counseling in an attempt to repair their marriage, but she too was battling with guilt, shame, and regret. The revelation of her disease and the realization that she had hurt her husband in such a profound way started to tear her apart. She saw in Mark the distance she had created, and with every effort she made to bridge the gap, the walls seemed to grow higher. Eventually, after months of emotional chaos, both Sarah and Mark realized that revenge wasn't going to heal them. It had only compounded their pain. Mark's affair ended, and they began working towards rebuilding their trust, albeit slowly. Therapy, difficult conversations, and understanding their own emotional scars were key to their eventual healing process. Infidelity is one of the most devastating betrayals a person can experience in a relationship. It's not just a simple act of cheating. It's an emotional earthquake that shakes the very foundation of trust, security, and self-worth. For the partner who has been wronged, the impact of infidelity goes far beyond the immediate heartbreak. It can lead to a cascade of emotional and psychological issues that can linger for years, or sometimes even for a lifetime. The emotions involved are multifaceted, and the effects on mental health can be severe and profound. At its core, infidelity is a breach of trust, but its consequences reverberate much deeper, touching on identity, self-esteem, and the sense of personal worth. When a partner discovers that their spouse has cheated, the initial reaction is often one of shock. The mind struggles to reconcile the person they loved and trusted with the actions of someone who has committed an unforgivable betrayal. This cognitive dissonance can be a painful and confusing experience, as the betrayed partner tries to make sense of a situation that feels entirely incomprehensible. How could someone they loved and invested in turn to someone else? Why did this happen? These are the questions that swirl in the mind, often unanswered, and causing further distress. The sense of disbelief can also lead to a mental fog, where the wronged partner struggles to focus on anything other than the emotional pain they are experiencing. As time goes on, this disbelief may give way to anger. Anger is a common emotional response to infidelity, and it often takes the form of a need to find someone to blame. The cheated-on partner might direct their anger towards the person they feel is responsible for the affair, whether that be the unfaithful spouse or the affair partner. This anger, however, doesn't always provide the catharsis that one might expect. In fact, it can sometimes escalate feelings of helplessness. As they confront their spouse, the anger can intensify, but the underlying wound of betrayal remains unresolved. The more someone is hurt, the more they may lash out, not necessarily to hurt the other person, but to express the pain and frustration they feel. The emotional devastation of infidelity doesn't just come from the act itself, but also from the sense of betrayal that the person feels. It's a feeling of being abandoned in a moment of vulnerability, and the unfairness of it can make the emotional wounds even deeper. Grief is another powerful emotion that follows infidelity. The person who has been cheated on experiences a profound loss, not just of their partner's loyalty, but also of the relationship they once believed to be solid and trustworthy. In many cases, they may grieve not only the person they loved, but also the life they thought they were building together. Infidelity shatters the image of a shared future and replaces it with uncertainty. For many, this leads to an identity crisis. Their sense of self might have been intertwined with their relationship and their role as a committed partner. When the relationship fractures due to infidelity, it forces the wronged partner to re-examine their own worth and place in the world. They may begin to question their attractiveness, their value as a partner, or their ability to be loved, often spiraling into self-doubt. This intense grief can also bring with it feelings of inadequacy, loneliness, and isolation, making the healing process more complicated. One of the most insidious consequences of infidelity is the lingering damage it does to one's self-esteem. For many individuals, their self-worth is tied to the quality and health of their relationships. If a partner steps outside of the relationship and betrays them, it can lead to a serious blow to their self-esteem. The betrayed partner may begin to wonder if they were not good enough, or if they did something to deserve the betrayal. These feelings of insecurity and inadequacy can extend far beyond the relationship in question, affecting all aspects of life. They may start to question their abilities in work, friendships, and even future romantic prospects. The emotional scars left by infidelity can shape how one views themselves in profound and long-lasting ways. Another emotional toll is the overwhelming sense of vulnerability that follows infidelity. When someone has been cheated on, they may experience a heightened sense of insecurity and fear about future relationships. If their spouse or partner could betray them, what is to stop others from doing the same? This vulnerability can extend into all aspects of life, including professional and social situations, where the person might feel that their trust in others has been fundamentally broken. Relationships that were once sources of comfort and stability may now feel unsafe and unreliable. It can be incredibly difficult to let down one's guard again after experiencing the betrayal of infidelity, and many people carry that emotional armor with them into new relationships, even if they no longer want to. In addition to emotional trauma, the psychological effects of infidelity can manifest physically as well. Studies have shown that those who experience the pain of infidelity often suffer from anxiety, depression, and even PTSD-like symptoms. The emotional upheaval of betrayal can lead to sleepless nights, loss of appetite, or constant stress, which in turn affects overall health. In some extreme cases, the pain of infidelity can even lead to self-destructive behaviors like substance abuse or self-harm, as individuals struggle to cope with the overwhelming emotions they feel. In essence, the emotional toll of infidelity is far-reaching and complex. It's not just about the initial heartbreak or anger, it's about the long-term damage to one's sense of self, trust, and emotional stability. Healing from this betrayal requires more than just time. It requires deep self-reflection, emotional work, and a willingness to rebuild what was lost. Whether or not the relationship survives the betrayal, the emotional impact of infidelity is an experience that shapes the wronged partner in ways that are difficult to fully comprehend until it happens.